Hello both. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions of how you're finding your time with Autogrowth so far. So can you kind of take us back to where the business was before you joined us and what made you look for a marketing agency?
Yeah, so we're predominantly like a restoration and performance centre, anyway, in paint and mechanical works. We did a little bit of tuning, but not really, much organic growth. We tried Google Ads ourselves, and they weren't really great, but they did sort of work, but ebbs and flows, and we felt like the return on investment was probably really poor, and we know it should be sort of 1 in 10, but we're probably spending 60% of the spend on the job, which was rubbish. I looked at the company that we work with for tuning, have an agent, and I'm just really skeptical of how they could help. So I did quite a bit of research, saw some adverts for Autogrowth, and that's when we got in touch.
Amazing. And what were your kind of first impressions of Autogrowth?
Great, yeah. Initial conversations with Tom, I was really encouraged, and obviously he encouraged me to check reviews of other businesses he worked with, which I did, and we've seen all the right things. And the fact that there's no sort of tie-ins, contractual tie-ins, that you sort of reassured is the fact that you're as interested in our growth as we are, rather than us having to upfront a lot of money and not new businesses can't, and then you're tied into something you're not happy with. I suppose we'd only continue with this if we were happy. Otherwise, we would just stop because we can.
Exactly, yeah. So what was your biggest challenge then before joining us? I assume that was finding new customers for the remapping, or was there other challenges that you were facing in your marketing?
Yeah, I suppose finding organic customers is super hard, and that's something you have to build up over years and years. And working out how to do ads effectively is super hard. That is a trade in itself, and I suppose that's why you exist, because both of us are pretty clued up with that kind of thing, and it is really hard to get something that is effective. Specifically on meta ads is super hard, we know that, and I feel like the spend that we were spending really wasn't returning. In fact, it was probably costing more than it was making in the quality of the ads. And so I think the hardest thing for us was, I suppose, pushing that boundary of, do we go with a marketing company? Do we continue with the rubbish ads we've got, or would you just give up on it altogether and continue with the mechanical work and everything else we were doing anyway?
Okay, and what kind of results have you seen after joining Autogrowth?
Immediately, an overwhelming sea of inquiries. I think we were both quite skeptical, thinking it might take a little while to grow. But, initially, I think the first day we had like 50, 60 inquiries or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was, whilst it was, felt overwhelming at first, it was all in a positive way, because, wow, we've gone from, maybe getting 1 or 2 inquiries overnight to, all of these people who are suddenly interested in potentially using us for their remaps. And, we were crying out for more work, and well, now you've got it. And, of course, not all of those inquiries are likely to book and use us, but we were fairly confident that once we can speak to people and explain how we do things, that we can, convince them that we are right for them, and vice versa. Yeah.
Amazing.
Positive.
Yeah, I think we've gone from doing, probably 1 or 2 a week to currently doing, is it
1 or 2 a day?
Yeah, so they're like 10, 12 more a day. So our target, we always wanted to be at doing like sort of 40 to 50 a month. And in the first 2 weeks, I think we probably booked 30 appointments. It was literally unbelievable. And I'm the most skeptical person in the world. I've watched videos like this, and people say, oh yeah, it was really amazing. And I've got 1,000 inquiries. It really was unbelievable. And I think, we found initially a little bit overwhelming. So we spoke to you, we edited some ads to make them, a little bit more qualifying, and the quality of the ads is great now. The consistency is great. And I think the app is excellent. I mean, without the Autogrowth app, like sort of auto schedule and sending messages and managing everything properly, it will be hard as well. That's also sort of transformed the business, really.
The app is worth a lot, to be fair. I think having that structured workflow has really helped. I think one thing that made us so skeptical about it at first is that we didn't realize how much work it would entail us doing.
Yeah.
So you were thinking, well, how can we spend that sort of money and get that sort of result? It doesn't really sort of make sense. It sounds a bit too good to be true. But once, I think, we were a couple of weeks deep and realized how much work had gone into it, well, okay, this is not too good to be true. It makes sense how it works.
We think as long as we make the money back on the spend to yourselves, like per month, and we've done that in the first day.
Yeah, it far exceeds.
Yeah, we've made the money back on that. So I think, okay, well, now it's free. So, apart from the ad spend, obviously.
Yeah.
Without that interface to handle the volume of inquiries, you wouldn't be able to handle that volume of inquiries. you know,
Mm-hmm.
like this, the constant support we have, by Slack, asking things. And I said in my initial review, and I think I'd only ever seen one, maybe like not bad review, but one sort of skeptical review about yourselves. And one of the things it said in it was that I didn't realize how much work it would be. I'm a one-man band. I haven't got time to answer all these calls. Now, I'm not entirely sure how anybody could expect not to have to, if you market and if you're looking for work like this, you also do have to put the work in. I think I said in my review, if you're not prepared to put the work in, this really won't work. But if you are, it's not crazy hard work. It's just like any business. If you have to ring the customer, you have to sell your product. But the quality of inquiries we've got, if you're prepared to handle them, is literally. I'm not just saying that in a really cheesy way. It's transformed this business into predominantly being tuning, and then obviously our paintwork side, which is separate. But like, it's transformed the business for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, we see this as a partnership. So we love to work with businesses like yours because we know what we can do. So we can generate those leads for you. We can do all of that. We can support you, but you ultimately have to call those leads, convert them, put the effort in. So, the success is really joint. You've both done such a great job considering you've been with us for, like we said, it's coming up a month now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And already you've seen it's transformed your business. It's now, as you say, it's a remapping business, isn't it? Where it wasn't before. So with that in mind, then, what would you say to someone else that's looking to join Autogrowth?
It doesn't hurt to do your due diligence and check, because everybody who's with you would say the same thing. It's not. Speak to Tom, or yourself, make an appointment and see what it's about, but also look at the reviews. And I said in my review, you can see where we are. Give us a call, just call the business number. I'll be happy to talk to somebody and explain to them how much it has transformed the business. And we're all skeptical. I'm one of the most skeptical people, because you protect your own business, you protect your money, you don't want to waste the money. See, if you are prepared to put that little bit of effort in, or you're prepared to deal with the volume of calls, whether it be remapping or valeting or whatever you do, it's transformed this business. It really, really has.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really good. Thank you for that. And thank you for being so honest as well. It is really important for people to know just how much work it does take. If you want your business to be successful, you've got to put the effort in, haven't you? You can't,
As
you
a
know.
others, like trials, some nights we go home and like, oh Christ.
Yeah, come in. I wake up with a text from Andrew with a screenshot of the lead connect app, and I'm like, oh no. But it's like, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like,
It's a good problem to have.